This brake is wore out again. The mechanic at my job brought the truck in for DOT inspection yesterday. And he told me about that brake, and he put a ground wire on one of these lights. Has to be this one. So apparently there's another ground wire in there that's not working someplace or whatever. And so apparently he put that on. This light must have stopped working somewhere along the way. Seems like they always stop working when he brings it in. This light here has fallen down and is laying in the bottom. There's these plastic little springs in there like shock absorbers, because this used to take the regular 1157 light bulb, and I put a LED replacement in these that fits an 1157 socket, and apparently that plastic spring in there fell or broke and the light fell down. I ordered some new ones, light fixtures just like these. They're not going to have the same wiring that plugs in like this does and over here. So I'll adapt the wiring, but I ordered them from Amazon. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. Today is Saturday. If they get here tomorrow, I took Monday off. I'll record putting those on and doing the wiring, showing people that don't know how to find out which wire goes where when you're changing something like that. This tire sprung a leak. It's got a hole in it somewhere. I got it marked, so I got to fix that. Grease job, just some regular stuff on it. Haven't used these iView camera glasses in a long time. They fit over my prescription glasses, that helps. set back into that pin a little bit so I don't have to pull too hard on the pin release. I guess this is basically just what I'm doing this weekend video instead of so much a how-to. I got plenty of videos on patching tires and brake jobs. We'll do a little bit of it on camera, but if you miss some details that you want, you'll go to my playlists on truck repairs and find plenty of videos on that, on tires and brakes. I get people asking me from time to time on my brake videos about caging bolts, and I normally don't use them. They're only good for 2 or 3 uses, and then the threads will strip out on the nut part of it, and I haven't found a source to buy spare caging bolts or ones that are made out of a hardened steel that are reusable over and over. Anyway, this is where one goes. Pull this stopper off and it goes in a little keyhole slot, and you pull it back out and then you tighten it down and pull the brake spring back. Well, I don't use those. On the trailer, since I can't park my truck and the trailer together here in front of my house, the truck's over there. As you can see, the trailer's even with the edge of the street, so I just use one of these hoses here, and I put a regular male Milton fitting on the end of it and just plug it into my shop air right here, and that releases my brakes. If I was in a position where I could leave it on the truck, I would just leave the truck hooked up to it and leave the brakes released with the air pressure from the truck. If my truck was leaking and wouldn't hold pressure, then I'd still just use this air hose to the shop air until I was finished. You still have to back off the slack adjuster, and most of them you have to lift a little button and then use a little square socket that goes on there. These I just 7/16 socket, and I just back it off at ratchets. So anyway, I've done that, jacked it up, brakes are free. Now it's time to take those wheels off. Alrighty, now I'm going to pull these brake shoes off. Try to do it with one hand. Alright, Now I gotta clean things up in there a little bit and then put the new shoes on it. In school, they're going to tell you to replace these rollers and those bushings. These rollers come out and they have a little bit of looseness, slight bit of slop, but this is a trailer that runs local. It's my trailer. Nobody's paying me to do this. I just put some grease in them rollers and bushings and stuck them back in. These brake shoes don't last very long on this trailer because it's local and I haul super heavy loads and I'm constantly braking. So we're going to take the new shoes out, put the new springs and stuff in there. As I've said before on other videos, you try to get this long spring in the center of these things here. You might have to push it over with a screwdriver because it's usually going to wind up on the side. You try to push it over in the middle. And it doesn't matter if the hooks are facing forwards or backwards. I don't think it matters. I don't know why it would. Put the two together. Hang them on there. I'll have to wrestle with that a second. Okay, I got the top shoe in place. The roller's on this side of the cam. The spring is on the inside. Now I need two hands. I got to pull this lower shoe down and pull it back forward, and then so I can get the roller on this side of that cam, and then we'll put this back in here. Alright, I got those springs pushed over into the middle of those pins that I knocked in there with a hammer. I got that top and bottom, pushed them over with a screwdriver, and now it's time to put these springs on. I put one on the back side already. I need two hands to do it. Some people use a vice grip. They make a tool for this. They make a couple of tools for this. There's one that's like a big, I don't know, it's like a big pliers that grabs a spring and stretches it out this way. There's another one, the cheapest and easiest tool to use and to find is like a big long screwdriver that goes under the axle here. It's longer than this, and it's got a hook on the side that you hook onto the spring and push it down. But I got a pretty healthy grip. If you don't have, then you might want to use a vice grip or another tool, but because these channel locks can bite a chunk of meat out of the heel of your hand if they slip. Gotta do that again. And that's all there is to putting them on. Now I got to tighten up the slack adjuster a little bit. We'll put the drum on and then tighten up the slack adjusters. These are new tires, and I got a skid flat on them. It's already down to the legal limit. But look how much tread we got over here. But, oh well, that's life. Checking the air in my tires and checking the oil in my hubs, and found out the oil's a little low. And it keeps taking oil, and I don't know why, because I don't see any leaks anywhere. Oh well, just fill it up. Time to take this tire off and fix it. Since I don't have a trailer on, no load, I can pick this up with this Harbor Freight roller jack. That's the one that's got the parking brake, so it's not going to turn unless I release the brakes. I pulled a nail out of it, this nail here, right there, and it pretty much stopped leaking when I pulled the nail out. I got 130 pounds of air in it right now. It had 30 pounds when I took it off just a minute ago. And there's a very small hole right here. Apparently that nail had opened up and made like a little flap. And when I pulled the nail out, the flap kind of went back down and closed over the hole. In one respect, I'm tempted to just put it back on, since it'd take 6 months for that to run out of air like that. In another respect, bouncing and hammering on the road, some really rough driveways I got to drive on. It got some really bad potholes. That's going to be a lot of flexing and hammering on that tire, and I don't know if that's going to stay sealed. I think it's going to end up leaking again. So I probably better go on ahead and push a reamer through that, and then I'll be able to find the hole on the inside. Now of course I'll mark it out here. I'll mark it with a piece of chalk or something. Usually I just take a screwdriver or something and just scratch the tire right about there, so I know about where it's at. So, oh well, let's break it down and see what we got. This is a reamer. I'm going to push that in that hole, try to make sure I go in the same direction the hole's going. I don't punch a new hole. Doesn't much matter, because the patch I'm going to put on is about that big around, so it'll cover even if I do poke another hole next to the original one. So I'm going to punch that through there, work it around a little bit, that way I can find the spot when I get inside the tire. Okay, I got what I need to patch this. I found my hole. Got it marked down here. I don't know if I can do this, but it's right there. It's right there. It's my hole, and there's a bunch of little rubber crumbs in here, and another patch cover. I guess Mark, the mechanic at my job, he probably put a patch on this tire. Well, I know he did, because I'm rubbing my hand around here. When I saw those rubber crumbs, I thought, well, somebody's been grinding in here, and I found the patch up here on top. So I got to put this thing on this drill, this buffer, and buff that hole a little bit. And since I got a tire lube to get the tire off the wheel, some of it was in here. I had to wipe that out, because you'll never get a patch to stick on that. So I'm going to clean that out. I'm actually going to take a little shot of brake cleaner on a paper towel and wipe my area clean before I start grinding on it. Okay, I put these camera glasses on so I can try to get this on video. I took a marker, and you can't see it very well, and put a circle around the
the area. I'm going to see how much of that I can get with this drill here and this little buffing wheel, especially since we got this ridge right next to that hole. We got to grind that ridge off of there. Shut the video off. Got my area buffed out there pretty good. I'm going to take my glue, if I can find out where I put it. Over here it is. I really cannot see what is on this camera glasses. I'd have to set up a iPad or something out here to be able to see what's on it, but I can't watch that and what I'm doing too, so I apologize if I don't get all of it on video. I gotta let this glue dry for about 5 minutes. Okay, I peeled the wrapper off the patch and put it on there. I'm going to take this little wheel here and work any air out from under it. What I got in there. Just going to work that a few minutes like that and put the tire back on. Before I put the tire back on, I want to snug this valve stem down a little bit. Just hold that with the pliers and 9/16 wrench on this nut here.